able to recall. I was able to recall them after the exam, so that made me a bit nervous. But still, I mean, I was able to get a decent rank, so I'm thankful for that.
So, what was the reaction of your parents and friends? And with such a great result, we all of us were also very happy. And because you have been like very close to me in my also and in my MBS days. And first of all, I want to say, Dr. Shivam Rajesh Chauhan is my just immediate senior. He's from batch 2020, and he has completed his MBBS from AIIMS Kalyani, which currently I'm also doing my internship over here only. So Boss has been always been a very kind senior, always giving lot of insights about apart from the academics, how the life we should lead. So boss always get to give good insights, and we're very happy that our own senior has got a marvelous rank of All India rank of 159 in this INICET May 2026. And I once again congratulate boss
Thank
and
you.
welcome to our Quiz Kura's first interaction with toppers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lokman.
So, so first questions will have different sections of questions actually, and our people have asked you a lot of questions also. So
Mm.
we'll get back to those questions also. So starting with our most asked questions. Um, yeah. So first, tell tell us little about yourself and your in your journey through MBBS at AIIMS Kalyani.
Yeah, as you told that I'm also from AIMS Kalyani from 2020 batch, and our batch has just completed internship in March 2026 only. So this was the first attempt of mine and for our batch also. And before this, seniors have given this exam, so they were also a great source of inspiration for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this was the first time that we wrote this exam.
Okay, boss.
Mm.
So, when did you actually seriously start the preparation for this May INICET, as this was the first exam regarding to any NEET PG exams?
For this exam, I started preparing seriously during the first month of my internship. So I started my first read during the first 5 months. Post that, I started giving grant test from September onwards. And within a span of 15 days, I used to give GTs regularly. And in the end, I increased the frequency and I also used test and discussion at the last.
So, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So, what was your overall strategy for this INICET?
So I thought that I'll give my best shot this time, the May attempt.
Yeah.
So after giving my thorough first read till September, so I took first 5 months for a thorough reading. Then I started with grant test because uh, post that uh, after starting with grant test, I supplemented with test and discussion videos. So test and discussion videos also have played a great part in this in this part. And after that, I increased my GT frequency and gave some center-based test also and mock test for also other from other platforms also. Mm.
So, boss, how did your preparation evolve from the first year to internship? How it
Mm.
changes from the first year itself to as the year progressed from the second year, third year, and fourth year in internship?
No, for initial first 2 years, I didn't have any of the coaching platform videos. I was just following whatever was taught in the class, whatever our teachers were teaching us, and going as per our prof schedules. Third year onwards, I started making notes for individual subjects. I started doing some of my fourth year subjects in the third year itself. So I did a major chunk of medicine and surgery in my third year only. So which helped me in my fourth year also. So I would say most of my notes were prepared at the end of fourth year. So this helped me in revising easily during my initial half of internship.
So, sir, was your notes are self-prepared by yourself only, rather than
Ye-
depending upon any platform already made notes?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't use the ready-made notes. I made my own notes. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, perfect. So, which phase of the preparation actually contributed most towards this great rank? What do you believe about that?
I believe last 3 months were the most crucial, I would say, because uh, since there was a transition phase, we moved from a different place to our respective hometowns, and the GT frequency also increased. So it also puts pressure on yourself to perform. But yeah, it I would say it's the most demanding and most crucial phase, I would say.
So the
Mm.
last 3 months actually is so crucial for this great rank. Okay, fine. First, then how many hours did you study on an average intensive days?
Yeah, it used to vary depending on the subjects we are having. Like initially during my internship, I used to have lighter posting as compared to the latter half. Initially, I used to have this obstetrics and gynecology, then CMFM. But in the latter half, I had surgery and medicine, so which was hectic. So initially, I was able to put 6 to 7 hours on my free days, but the number of hours reduced at the end. But I was one thing I would say, I was consistent, so which helped me. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. Then which resources do you primarily rely on?
So for my notes, I used DAMS starting from my third year. Then for questions, I started doing in my fourth year. And for questions, always preferred Marrow. And for GTs also, I have preferred Marrow.
Okay.
Mm.
So for the videos and all, you use dance platform, and like dance and multiple like App Live, then physical classes or the D&D. Which actual resources did you use the most?
Yeah, so initially during my third and fourth year, I watched the live videos. But at the end, I saw the DBT videos. So,
Okay. 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 Um, so what do you suggest that did you use video lecture extensively or focus more on question banks during preparation phase?
during the last 6 months, I didn't watch many of the videos. I focused mainly on solving questions. But initially, during the initial half, I would say I watched majority of the videos, and I watched all of the videos that have been recorded by the dance faculty. So,
Yes.
mm.
So how did you make short notes and revision notes? Matlab, how do you do it? And any suggestions from for our viewers how to make good notes for so that they can prepare well or revise well during the preparation?
So I would say the main aim of the first reading during the initial 4 5 months of your internship should be to have a good set of notes, be it revision notes or mostly revision notes only, so that you don't have to make new notes in the second half in the next 6 months. So first 6 months, make a good fix your notes and fix your sources, and in the second half, you need to start solving MCQs. You need to start doing TNDs and consolidate on those notes only. So, and also one notebook I made, which they say is the 20th notebook. So mine was a thicker one. So I wrote all the mistakes that I made during my grand test and during my test and discussions in that notebook only. So after a span of 6 months, around 4 to 5 pages were there for each subject. So which I used to revisit before any test or uh, whenever I have to revise that topic. So yeah, that has really.
So if you were to start preparation today, what resources would you definitely choose again?
So if I have, I would ask you 6 months or 1 year.
Let's say like for this upcoming November INICET.
Okay, so for this upcoming November NICT, I would say you can use BTR notes simultaneously. uh, Watch the VTR videos, and you can supplement them with DVTs. So once you are done with your BTR videos, you can use the same notes, but for video purpose, you can do DVT, I would say. So it is really helpful because some of the content is better in DVT, I would say. For example, pharma and yeah, especially pharma and anatomy. So I visited. I prefer DVT over VTR for some subjects. So
So
yeah.
yeah. So what if the time duration is of like 1 year, like for us that will be eligible for giving in May INICET of next year?
Hmm.
How what preparation would you recommend?
So as you said, you have 1 year. So initial 4 to 4 months now, 1 or 2 months have passed already. So 4 to 5 months, you just need to focus on making your fixed set of notes that you'll be revisiting. And after 4 months, you need to start giving your grant test every 15 days. And this has to be consistent. Okay. So start with GTs every 15 days, and uh, after 4 to 5 months, I would suggest you to join a test and discussion. Okay, so you're done with your first reading, then start with test and discussion for next 3 months, along with your grant test. So once you're done with your test and discussion, you can start. Uh, Also, one more thing, you have to do your previous year questions during your first read. So in the initial 6 months, I would say that you must be thorough with your previous year questions. Okay, uh, so first 6 months, uh, notes plus previous year questions. Next 3 months, test and discussion. Okay, along with GT every 15 days. Okay, post that, you can join, as I said, DVT for the next cycle. So supplementing your BTR notes with DVT and doing test and discussion one more time. So that would be beneficial. So yeah, and at the end, when you are 2 months or 3 months away from the exam, you can increase your GT frequency.
Then what resources would you like avoid spending excessive time on?
Resources to avoid.
Yeah.
So I would say you should avoid resources with long notes. Okay, so you need to have very crisp and concise notes. Like for uh, there are plenty of notes available which are crisp and concise in today's times. So you should avoid notes which are like 100 pages for a single subject. One thing. That's all. That's one thing you should definitely avoid. So at the end of the preparation, you must be left with a very tiny amount of stuff which you have to go through again and again. Hmm.
So now talking about question bank and MCQs, how important were MCQs in your preparation?
Yeah, MCQ solving is equally and more important as compared to watching video alone. So initially, during the first 6 months, you should be solving topic-wise MCQs. Okay, so if you are doing surgery for this first 15 days of a particular month, so you need to do the subject-wise question bank which is there along with the previous year questions. Okay, but when you are done with your first reading and done with your subject-wise question bank, during the next cycle, you should do your subject-wise question bank, like a set of 100 questions for surgery, a set of 100 questions for obs and gynae. So yeah, initially topic-wise and then subject-wise. So yeah,
Actually, was how many questions did you solve on a daily basis?
daily basis during the last 3 months, I solved, as I told you, I gave 2 cycles of DBT. And during the last 6 months, I mainly focused on solving subject-wise problems. Also, I made a small notebook of the previous year questions that I did wrong. Okay, so I wrote the explanation and some part of the important
Yes.
thing which is to be remembered when referring to the PYQ. So, subject-wise, around 50 to 100 you should do daily, and along with that, some PYQ you should write it somewhere so that you don't forget it anymore.
So how did you review your incorrect questions?
So I personally used to revisit my main notes, whether the point is there or not in my main notes. So most of the times it was there only. So I used to highlight it again and again. I have made mistakes in the topics which were written in my notes only, but still I was doing it wrong, and that's the main motive of doing MCQs again and again, so that you're thorough with your notes and you get to know that what your notes have more to offer. So with solving more and more questions, you'll get to know that okay, this is what this is how I was supposed to learn them, or this is how I should be knowing it.
Yes. Yeah. So you maintained one error notebook actually,
Hmm.
where or you write that in the your own that original notebook and highlight it. What did you do actually?
So the topics which were volatile, pretty volatile for me, I suppose one section is there for FMT, and the things which are very volatile for me, I wrote it again in that notebook. So at the end, after doing multiple rounds of MCQ, so 3 to 4 pages were made, which included the most volatile things and things which I've done wrong again and again. So in this way, you can compile a set of 2 3 pages of 3 to 4 pages for each subject which you are getting wrong again and again, and at the end what you can do is you can make a flashcard of that particular point if you are, because you are more tend to forget it one more time if you have done that mistake. So I used to at the end what I did was I made flashcard of that particular topic. So I used Anki also for certain topics which were pretty volatile and for the facts which I was committing mistakes again and again.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So talking about the revision thing, how many complete revisions did you manage before the exam?
Okay, so first revision was in the 6 months, initial 6 months of the internship. Then next revision I did in the next 3 months. Then 2 months. Then two revisions in 1 month each, and two revisions in last 15 days.
What was your revision strategy during the last month actually?
So I divided my subjects into into three sub into three broader groups. Okay, so each group had around 6 to 7 subjects. So and each group had two major subjects and 2 3 minor and intermediate subjects also. So dividing them into three groups, I used to revise one group in 1 week. Okay, so initially it took me around 18 days, 18 to 20 days to revise uh, one complete cycle. And subsequently, I reduced my number of days to revise that particular group to reducing it by 2 or 3. So I at the end I was able to revise. My last revision took around 7 days. Okay, so yeah, dividing them into subgroups will help you to revise at
Yeah.
the last.
So what was your final week revision plan?
Okay, so one thing I would say that around 60 to 70% of the paper comes from 7 to 9 subjects, nine to 10 subjects only. So revising them was my first priority. Okay, so like if you talk about the major ones, obs gynae, then PSM, surgery, along with the intermediates pharma, then micro patho, and physiology and FMT. So these 8 subjects comprise of around 120 to 180, 120 questions around in the exam. So, and these were very volatile for me. So instead of focusing more on subjects which are less asked, like Opthal and ENT, I focused more on these subjects. Okay, so yeah, you can divide these subjects in the subgroups which I was saying in that priority also. So which are more volatile to you or which are more frequently asked, you can add them in that priority list. So with this, I would say prioritizing has to be done by you only. It has to be tailor made for each of you. What the places where you are lagging or you're facing difficulty to remember. So you need to prioritize those things.
Yes. So, which subjects actually require the most number of revisions, like repeated revisions for you actually? Apart
Okay.
from these 10 subjects you were at the list, or from any other subject from this 19 subjects pool?
Okay, so for me, Obs Gynae was the one which was requiring multiple revisions because it is asked heavily, and I was initially committing a lot of mistakes in it. So I revised Obs Gynae multiple times. Then, uh, then community medicine also I revised multiple times along with FMT. So FMT also uh, uh, gives you around 8 to 10 questions in the exam. So
Yes, of course.
yeah,
Okay,
these
okay.
three were the
So,
ones. So
yeah. How frequently did you attempt grant test? Like initially you told that in the first 6 months there are 15 days in a duration and increase as the time passed by. So can you please say us how did you approach and what is the frequency of your grant test?
So I started giving run tests in the month of September only. So it was initially every 15 days I used to give, and I gave only INICET grant tests. I didn't give the NEET ones. So I always gave these INICET grant tests. Initially, the frequency was 15 every 15 days. Then near to the exam, I increased it around once a week, and then I used other platforms which were providing free mock tests. So I gave one from Cerebellum, one from this BTR grant test also I gave, and then one center-based test I gave from LAMS. So luckily, my center-based test examination center and my real exam center was same only. Yeah, so that might have helped.
Nice, nice. So what was your approach after each grant test?
Okay, so I used to uh, write down uh, all the wrong questions at the back of my 20th notebook. So I have divided my 20th notebook uh, like grand test one, and I used to write all the subjects and two, three major points which I have committed mistaken. So in this way, it was around 10 to 15 pages at the last, which I had to revise before the exam so that I can go through and I don't repeat those mistakes again. So yeah, in this way, again, I would say I mean, you tend to commit mistakes on the same topics again and again, and you need not to be disheartened about repeating the same mistake. So yeah, things will not go again. The things will be against, sometimes will be against you, but still, you have to be consistent. And I was writing those things again and again, but still, I was. repeating those mistakes. So that leads to frustration sometimes, but still, it helps at last.
So did your actually the mock marks correlate with your rank, with your actual rank, or did it at any difference?
So initially, I was getting around 120, 130 in my grand test. At the at the last part, at the last part of my grand test, like the ones which I gave in March, April, and May. So I was getting around 140 corrects in the INICET mock test, and one the live mock test which was conducted by Maro, I got a score of 142, and in DAMPS I got 148, and in Cerebellum also I got around 146, 144, something like that. So it was always around 145, 150. Once I got 155 also. So, but in actual, my score is similar to what I was getting in my grand test. So I got around uh, in the actual exam I got 154 corrects, 42 incorrects, and four I left.
Okay, sir.
Mm.
So how students would interpret poor mock scores actually?
Yeah, interpretation of poor marks is equally important as reading your main notes or solving MCQs. Okay, so as I told you that you might be committing the same mistake again and again, so you need not to be disheartened about it. You just either you can prepare a Anki deck like of your mistakes that you are committing, so that you can visit them once when you are free through your phone or wherever you are whenever you're free. Okay, so or either you can put sticky notes of that, but at the end you have to be thorough with that thing. Okay, so you need not to be committing the same mistake in your grant in the final exam. So that's what I want to say, that you can commit mistakes in your grant test, but make sure that you learn from them and not commit the same mistake again.
So what common mistakes do students usually make while giving mock test?
So initially, we should common mistakes students make during mock tests. So initially, we should focus on time management. Okay, so initial 3 to 4 mock tests, we must develop that habit of sitting for 3 long hours and in a single stretch. Because in actual exam, what happens is they make you sit around 1 hour before the exam. Okay, so if the exam starts at 10 and you are at the center at around 8, so you are seated at around 9. Okay, so from 9 the exam will start at 10, and post 10 it will take another 3 hour, and after that also it will take around 30-40 minutes to you for you to disperse from the center. Okay, so in actual it is around 3 to 4 hours setting which you initially must develop. Okay, so first thing is you should develop sitting habit for 3 long hours. After that, reviewing is also equally important. So once you're done with your test, I would recommend that you revisit your mistakes within 24 hours, so that you must remember that where I committed the mistakes or where I've been going wrong. And yeah, means reviewing mistakes is very crucial. Okay, so you've given the test and must be knowing that what are the mistakes that I've made, and simultaneously writing them down in your main notes, or as I told you, put in a sticky note, or making a flashcard out of it.
Yes. Uh, nice that's a nice insight actually how do students would approach the mock test. So coming about a subject-wide approach, which subjects are actually your like strongest and which were your weakest?
My strongest, I used to score nice in medicine. I used to score nice. Then biochemistry, I also used to score good only. Then uh, surgery. Pharma were also micro were nice, but I was comparatively weak in anatomy in short subjects. So in the main exam also, I have committed a lot of mistakes in my short subjects only. So I would say now short subjects.
So, what are your suggestions actually to tackle subjects like anatomy, because it requires a lot of remembrance, and it's literally very volatile for those people like who are not so serious about anatomy during first year.
Hmm.
So, what suggestion do you give to?
So one thing I would say that anatomy is a big subject, okay, and you need not study all of it into great depths. So I would say that you should do rapid revision from a source. For anatomy, I would recommend Ashwini sir's rapid revision. One short video is also there, which is the same content which he teaches in the marrow rapid revision. Okay, so first once you are done with the rapid revision, you should do previous year questions. Okay, so you'll realize that majority of the topics he has covered, and some of them are left, and that you have to study separately. Okay, so uh, a rapid revision followed by previous year questions, and you have to give equal weightage to histology also and to embryology also, because one question from each segment will be asked, uh, be it upper limb, be it histology, be it embryology. So, be it neuroanatomy also. Neuroanatomy sometimes two questions can be asked also. But the thing is that every topic is given equal weightage. Okay, so you have to study all of them, not in extensive detail, but all the aspects you must be knowing in great width. You must be knowing, not in great depth. Okay, so anatomy, I would say that you must read all of the topics at least once and make short notes out of it. For embryology, I would say make 2 or 3 pages notes. For histology, also, I would say make a photo or a image folder in your mobile or on your iPad for the histology images. But you need to revise them also and give equal importance as you're giving to upper limb or lower limb or head and neck. Okay, because one question will be asked and that would be easy only. So this time, sublingual gland was asked, histology. So in this way, I would say that you need to study anatomy in more width as compared to its depth, and width you will know by doing previous year questions. Okay,
So
so
about yeah, yes. So about the I got a very nice quote actually. You should always study more quick rather than going much in depth.
yeah,
So
particularly for anatomy, because there's, I mean, they don't ask. I mean, they can ask, but over the last 3 4 years, what we are seeing is every topic they're asking, but not in that great depth. Even though they ask, I mean, some things are beyond our control. So what we can do is we can follow a trend which they are following for the last 3 4 years. Okay.
yes. Yes. So how did you tackle like volatile subject like PSM and pharmacology and microbiology?
For PSM, I've made some flashcards. Okay, only for biostats, uh, for screening of diseases, and for epidemiology. So, out of these topics, they'll suppose asking around 12 questions. So, 50 to 60% of the questions will be from these 3 4 topics only. But again, I would say that you should read each and everything, but special emphasis must be made in these topics. Okay, and 2 3 updates and new government schemes with they'll be asking, like this time they asked about the HPV vaccination, single dose vaccination, which is approved. Okay, so follow the updates also, but focus more on epidemiology, statistics, and question solving for
So
these topics.
yes, boss. So the more questions are on like coming from the biostatistics or from the like core PSM like
No, they're not asking
vaccine
core
health and
PSM.
etc.
Core PSM, they're not asking that much. Uh, they're asking more on in the last 3 4 years. They're asking more on biostats and epidemiology only. And for other topics, you can do previous year questions. So you'll get to know that what are the other things they've asked. Because in topics like environment, they've asked a lot of previous year questions. But this time, in 3 to 4 years, there not been a question in on environment. So you'll get to revise and get to know what are the topics they like, but through previous year questions. But do study epidemiology and statistics in great depth. Okay. Mm.
Yes. So what strategy actually work best for your clinical subject?
So, clinical subjects, initially I made my notes, as I told you, during my third and fourth year, but some of them were too long. So I concised my notes. I saw VTR videos and, as I told you, DVT videos. So after watching those, I concised my notes to, I'm talking about surgery. So I concised my notes to some 20-30 pages, and I used to revise them again and again, and that's all. I mean, I used to visit them only uh, if I have to do questions, or if I have to write again and again, write my mistake again. So I used to follow that small 20-30 pages booklet only.
So what is your approach to the subject of surgery?
Surgery, I made, suppose I have to revise. So now consider 6 months are remaining for the exam, okay? And I have made my full notes, complete notes, I mean video notes. So I would read them once, and I would then revise my short notes, okay? Or what I can do is I can revise my short notes and I can start doing MCQs. So after reviewing my questions, which I have done wrong, I can revisit my main notes and see what are the things that where I was lagging, or anything more has to be added. So in this way, you can go retrograde, like solving questions first and then revisiting your notes, or uh, doing your notes first and then doing questions. So if you again and again do passive reading, that will not help you much. Okay, so either you have to follow different strategy every time in every cycle that you revise. First notes, then questions. In the second one, notes, then question. In the second one, questions and then notes. In the third one, you can see a video for active recall. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that you can do DVT after VTR as a active recall uh, method. And again,
Yes.
you can give test and discussion. So in this way, you have to do same thing but in different style. So that you remember. Okay. So yeah, I mean it's of no use that you are reading your notes again and again and hoping that you will score more. Okay. So that you have been doing for the last 3-4 years. So let's try something new. Let's do the same thing, but as I told you, through a different mode.
So which subject actually did the highest return on investment?
Um, uh, for INICET, for exam, I would say pathology and physiology, because in actual exam, the first section was literally physiology and biochemistry only. So you might think that it's like they've literally divided uh, the first quarter into first year questions like that, and majority of them they are asking physiology and biochemistry only. So physiology along with physio, patho, pharma, micro, these are the most important. I mean, you should know in and out of these subjects.
Yes. Coming up to the internship and the time management, how did you balance your internship duties with the preparation?
So as I told you initially, my internship was not that hectic. Okay, so we even went for a trip with my friends, and like I did all the possible things which were there to enjoy. But in the latter 6 hours, I started studying more regularly, and so my aim was to study for 3 to 4 hours, even if the schedule is not on my side. Okay, so if it's even if it's a bit hectic, I would stick to 3 to 4 hours, or I would do MCQs in between the rounds or whenever I get time. So this is how you can also do, like when you're having hectic postings, you can solve more and more questions rather than reading, or when you're having time, uh, you can revise rapidly, but could solve a relatively lesser number of questions.
So, how did you stay productive despite being fatigue on heavy duty days?
So that's one advantage, I would say. If you start early, you will have many buffer days in between. So if you start during your internship, even if you are feeling fatigue someday or tired someday, you have a lot of people around you. Many friends are there around you. So that is one thing. So even if you are feeling fatigue, you can have a you can go outside whenever you are feeling low, or whenever you're not in a mood to study. So that's where it helps you, because you have a time of more than 1 year or around 1 year to study. Okay, so it's not the same every day that you are equally motivated, but yes, you should at least sit and work for at least 2 to 3 hours if you're not in a mood to study. So be consistent, but whenever things are on your side, you can uh, multiply your hours. And when things are against you, or when you're not willing to go, just follow that basic routine.
Yes, boss. So, coming on to the exam day, what is actually your mindset on the exam day?
So on exam day, I was a bit nervous because day before the night before the exam, I was unable to sleep well. Okay, so I slept for around 3 to 4 hours only. Although I went to bed bit early, still I was unable to sleep. But I mean, it happens. It is natural to have a long night before any big exam. So my exam center was around 30 minutes from my house only, luckily. So and I reached there at around 7:30 in the morning. So after all the checking and frisking, I was on my feet at around 9 a.m. and they made us sit for around 1 long hour before the exam. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like 3 hours only. It's more than what you see, and later on you'll also realize.
Yes.
Mm.
So, coming to how many questions did you attempt in a paper?
So I attempted 196 questions.
Great. So, did you have any strategy for difficult questions?
Yeah, the question might sound difficult to you, but you need not lose hope. Okay, so the question can be difficult, but the options you have to see whether if it is a multiple ABCD type, like two out of the three statements are correct, like this. So with your instinct, you can rule out either one or two. So option the you'll be able to answer then. Okay, so one thing I would say, don't lose hope, even though you don't know the main crux of what the question is asking to you. First thing. Second, I think that the options in INICET are easier as compared to the mock test that you give. Okay, even if you know one or two facts out of the question, you can still solve it, and you should do it. Okay, number two. Number three, you need to attempt around more than 195 questions to have a good rank, decent rank. Okay, so with that, I would say if you're having no clue, and the question is and the options are also very straightforward, that you have no chance of guessing it, then only you should leave it. Otherwise, if long statements are there, then you will definitely have a chance to attempt the question and go with your own instinct. Okay, so you should attempt long questions and just leave if any raw fact is asked. And yeah, that's it. I would say attempt the question, and yeah, matlab, read the options carefully. I mean, even though you might not be knowing the question, what the exactly the examiner is asking, but still you can answer.
Was from out of 195 questions you've attempted, how many questions were like the informed guesses you have taken and that turns out to be right?
So after the exam was done, during my recall, I saw that I took around around I took 10 to 12 guesses. Okay, and out of which I think 6 to 7 were correct only.
Oh,
Six to
nice.
seven, I think. And one thing I would say that the three questions which I left were from the last section only. So if I had time, I would have attempted those only. Those also. Okay, so yeah.
So, how did you manage time inside the examination hall? Means, INICET it has been divided into four sections, one, two, three, four, and they do have like time limit for each section. So, how did you manage time for?
So this time, what happened was the question stem in INICET is not that long. Okay, which you get to see in mock tests. So some questions will be very straightforward, and they have divided sections. Like one section will be very easy, one section will be comparatively difficult, and two sections will be one will be of moderate difficulty and one will be difficult. Okay, so this time my difficult section was the last one. So even though I saved around 5 to 10 minutes in section 2 and 3, still I was able to barely save any time in the last section. So you have to figure out whether this is a difficult section or not. So uh, at the first sight, if you are not able to answer a particular question, you can revisit the same thing in your second visit. Okay, so you can leave that question. I mean, you don't know that whether the upcoming questions have a very long question stem or not. So it's better to visit all questions at least once and then go to the other ones which you have left in your first visit. So that's why I was saying the second and third sets which I was having were having pretty short sentences of question and answers. So there I was save time. I was able to save time, but still, I mean, it's a fixed duration now, so you cannot skip onto the uh, other set. So that's why uh, seeing all the questions and maintaining a basal rhythm is equally important.
Yes, boss. So, one more question I have that how was that May INICT 2026 different from the previous INICT?
No, actually, what you get to see yourself at the exam center is different what the recall shows. Okay, so there might be uh, over exaggerating the last INI sets that have happened, or I mean, actual language, neither the students remember nor the paper makers. So this was, as I said, no, the initial 2 3 sections were doable, but the last section was a bit tricky, I would say, and had longer question stems. So, but one thing I would say, it is easier as compared to your mock tests. Okay, the Marrow grant test, which the grant test which Marrow conducts, it was easier as compared to those ones. So if you are, so I would recommend all of you to do Marrow INICET grant tests, all of them which are there in the series, so that you have a good backup of questions that you have solved. Okay.
So, like the last section that you spoke about was a bit difficult for you. Actually, what sort of questions, like which subjects actually contributed most for that section?
Yeah, this time the short subjects were trickier for me as compared to the first and second year subjects. So in the last 10 questions, I made around 6 to 7 mistakes. So only around 3 to 4 corrects were there for me in the last 10 questions of the exam. So those were mainly from one MRI was given, one image, one, two, three image-based questions were there, one long stem history of trauma was there, in one orthopedics question was there. So in the last year, mainly the short subjects were there, which I got wrong mainly. So I would say this time these short subjects were difficult for me.
So, I want to ask that this question that you made wrong, where like have you read about in notes, or like they were completely new?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, some questions might be new to you, might sound very new to you, but still you can have a guess. Okay, so out of those, two questions were completely new, out of which one I left. Sorry, both of them I left. So yeah, but still you can have a guess if you are pretty much confident about your guess. So two of the questions in the last 10 questions were new. Hmm.
So coming up like the extrapolation of questions, like this time they asked about the trauma to the whole viscera, but maximum students like while preparing for the prof exam they read about the classification of like uh, solid organs. So how do you recommend the aspirants to approach such sort of questions or prepare for it?
Yeah, so you're asking about the small intestine injury question.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's just
So
extrapolation.
yeah.
You might have
So
read it from notes
so
and all.
I
Like,
attempted that
yeah,
question, and but if you know, if you see the other AAST gradings like the splenic trauma,
yeah,
so I just what I did was I extrapolated the splenic trauma grading from there to this small intestine in grading. Okay, so there also grade three is having more than 50% involvement and laceration of more than 5 centimeters. So I thought that it might be similar only. So I marked grade three. So and it eventually it turned out to be a right one. So that's how if you know your basics, if you know some things which you have read very nicely and you know in and out of them, then you can have a very good educated guess. So that's how I would say that don't lose hope even though you don't know the question. Okay, so still you can answer with you can relate it. Okay, so that's why I was saying that don't lose hope even after even if you don't know the main thing what it is asking.
yeah. Yes, boss, yes. So coming up to the section of mistakes and lesions, what were the biggest mistakes that you think you've made during your preparation?
My preparation. So I would say that uh, during my April month of preparation, I didn't solve many of the MCQs. So one thing is there that I should have solved. I mean, question solving must be in your routine. Okay, so be it your rapid revision or any video that you are seeing, but question solving must be a regular habit for you.
Yes, boss.
So one thing that I don't say I regret, but I should have done more question solving during my March April timeline.
If you were to go back 1 year, then what would you do differently this time?
Okay, so this time I would say I would complete my notes earlier. Like I was saying, no, complete your notes, set of notes that you will be referring in the initial 6 months. So I took around 6 to 7 months to consolidate my notes. So because BTR was new at that time, I was unaware of the fact that I can use BTR in a smarter way of uh, uh, concising my notes. Okay, so this time, if I'm even if I'm given a chance, I would say I would recommend anyone to uh, have your notes getting concised early on during a course because I've seen my friends also they struggle having a concise set of notes even after 6 to 7 months and they don't know what to do and which source to follow. So as you know that today market is flooded with a lot of stuffs. So you must be thorough with your own notes and you must be knowing that okay, this is my go-to stuff and Even though if I have to watch any other source, I'll be adding in these notes only. Okay, so this is one thing I would do again if I'm given it.
Was coming on to how to actually approach the BTR itself, because like people who have done their like videos from Arrow and all, they have been like more elaborate, but the BTR is more likely concise from the previous questions and all. So someone who is like, for example, me picking up to start a BTR during my phase of preparation, how do you recommend me to use the BTR effectively?
Okay, so if you are asking me, so I would say that suppose you have to do BTR for obs and gynae. Okay, and obs and gynae is one subject which everyone in our college does very thoroughly, because fourth year everyone takes very seriously. Okay, so all of us must have seen Marrow videos fully. Okay, so what I would recommend is you take notes of BTR. So it is a set of 30 to 35 pages, and you see Zainab ma'am's video, okay, and you complete your notes. Okay, after that, you visit your main notes, which you read during your final prof. And after revisiting your main final prof notes, you have to add certain things which you think that this has to be added, or this is something which is not there. This I know well. This ma'am has not taught us nicely, because some things are there which have been taught by our faculty also, which in our college in great depth. Okay, so and which can help you in solving questions, because everything will be asked, be it in this way or that way. A majority of the things that we have already studied will be asked. So what you can do is the things which you know well, which you think can be added to these notes, you should try it, those things again. So with this, you are confident that you have been through your main notes, and you have done your BTR also. Okay, so
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So coming to the like mental health and motivation, did you ever experience burnout during preparation?
Yeah, I not burnout, but yeah, I was exhausted sometimes, because after night duties, when you haven't slept the whole night and still you have to study the next day. So that becomes very difficult. Okay, so on the next day, either used to uh, I either used to have a lighter schedule, but I used to study. I mean, it was not like that I would skip the whole part of study next day. I would study, but I would do some other things which would help me to cope up for that day. And yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No, you have to be consistent, even though you are not very much productive. Okay, so all types of days will be there. Some days you're very much productive. Some days you might not have uh, the same motivation or zeal to.
Yes. So how did you handle the periods of low motivation?
Okay, so initially, like once everyone starts giving GTs, for me, what happened was I was not getting very good scores. So that was one phase, I would say. Uh, so from that, I would say, st- do what you are doing. Okay, just be continuous, just be regular. Things will eventually be by your side, and you'll ultimately go through this phase also. So, I mean, you have to be regular, I would say. So, being regular is one thing which will eventually help you to get out of that phase. Okay, so
Yes, boss. So what actually helped you to stay consistent throughout your journey?
I said now you have to divide your internship into six, three, two, and so on. So with this, you are time bound that I have to complete my first revision in initial 6 months. Okay, and post that in the next 3 months, you have a T&D schedule also, which you will be following. Not very rigorously, but yes, you have to follow either 3 months or 10, 15 days plus minus you take. So you have to make your own schedule. Like I have told you initial 6 months, then 3 months. So with this also, you get to have a check on yourself. And after 6 months, once you start giving grant tests every alternate 15 days, no, every 15 days. So then also you'll more or less be on track, and you'll get to realize the mistakes that you're committing. And once you start giving grant tests, then it naturally comes to you. Okay, so initially 6 months, the preparation is still on the lighter side. You're enjoying, and you have like around 15 to 20 days for each subject. If you leave your four professional subjects, because all of us have done those subjects in great depths. So, leaving all those subjects, you have still 15 to 20 days to complete your long subjects in the initial 6 months. And after that, once you start giving your GTs, you are more or less in your routine only.
So, coming to the next question, how important was your family and your peer support during these days, and what impact did it had or in your preparation?
Okay, so peers have always been there, because since I was very far away from my home, so my friends have always helped me to cope up with the stress that we all are having simultaneously, all our batchmates and all my friends. Okay, so and also some of my near friends, they were also preparing for the same exam. So it's like discussing the same thing with them, and asking what's going wrong and what can be done to sorry, for improvement. Okay, so if you are surrounded by similar minds and similar uh, people who are thinking in the same direction, so that also helps. So ultimately, uh, uh, with the end of internship, you realize that most of your colleagues are also starting to study. So that will also help you to accelerate your studies. Okay, so initially 6 months you go slow, then more people will come with you, more people will join, and obviously your uh, colleagues will also help you, and family and has always been very kind and supportive. So yeah.
Yes. So, coming to the rapid fire, so
Mm.
like one resource every INICET aspirants must use.
I would say both DVT and BTR.
One mistake every aspirant should avoid.
One,
One mistake every aspirant should avoid.
not reviewing GT,
Most underrated subject.
FMT.
Most overrated preparation advice.
Most overrated preparation advice. Most overrated preparation advice. Doing the whole question bank, I would say.
Okay.
Although I've
Uh,
done 50-60% of it, but still,
then best productivity tip.
best productivity tip. Get up early in the morning, like 6 is also enough. So 6, you can sit for 3 hours in a stretch in the morning. 6 to 7.
Okay. One message for students who are preparing for INS 18 November 2026.
Um, Take a TND cycle, uh, do 2 or 3 cycles of TND, and be regular. Don't lose hope, even though uh, even though seats are very limited, but still hope for the top ranks. I would say. Okay, so aim higher. That's it.
Yeah. So coming to the last question, what is the most important lesson that helped you secure a wonderful rank of 159 that every medical aspirant should remember?
Most important thing I would say is consistency, and giving grant tests regularly. So I never missed my 15th day for grant test. So regularly you should give tests, and yeah, you have to be consistent. Consistency, I would say.
Okay, boss. So what are the your next thought process? Like what branch are you thinking to go for?
Branch I have to decide, but I'll take up either general surgery or general medicine. Medicine, I think I won't get at a better place, so I might go with general surgery.
Like this time, like lot of like MCS seats have come up. I was going through the list.
Hmm.
Like 6 years courses for like neurosurgery, CTPS, pediatric surgery, and all. And even in NIMAS, there have DM neurology of over 6 years. They've come up with that seat. So are you aiming for those seats also?
Yeah, actually, but at my rank, I will not get NIMHANS and AIMS Delhi. So other 6 years, I'll have to see. So
Like other
that's
AIMS
something
have
which I
also
have to
come up.
decide.
Yeah. Like a
Mm.
lot of AIMS have come up with at least 2 to 3 seats of different
Yeah.
MCS courses for 6 years.
Mm.
Yes, boss. That's nice talking to Dr. Shivam, boss. My very dear senior, very close to me during my like 4 to 5 years of journey. So I thank him for taking out his time during his busy schedule. And the Quizkura family wishes him a lot of best wishes for his future endeavors. And definitely, I wish to meet you again.
Thank you, Loknath. Thank you. And you've been doing a wonderful job with QSCura in our institute also, as well as on Pan India basis. So all the best to you too.
Thank you, boss.
Mm.
Boss. ठीक है boss. Bye.
Bye.